this. So we will start with the vision. We will start with why we have taken a number of decisions and the approach we have taken, and to a very high level, what we see, what we perceive, is a win-win situation for the industry of a number of industry sectors, vertical industry sectors in transformation, with evolving ICT ecosystem based on 5G. And this project and other projects in ICT 17, what they try to do is to create a common platform where those two worlds can meet and get the best of each other, so that it is simplified how they can get access to real 5G architectures, platforms, and how they can test their applications and get conclusions out of those tests, so that they can then take business decision on where and how to launch their services on the commercial networks to be rolled out in the next years. The approach we take to be able to create a platform serving that purpose is, as Mauro was anticipating, that we incorporate in the project already a number of vertical use cases with the presence of partners in the areas of Industry 4.0, tourism, utilities, media, transport, and smart cities. We create a common homogeneous way of accessing the different 4 sites for all these verticals, and our ambition is that same as we can serve these partners and verticals, we can accommodate for the testing of a wide range of new vertical applications, and that's basically why we are today, and open always to include new use cases from new partners. So I have to say, only to complete this very high level initial vision, it's basically 2 pieces of components what we deliver to you, projects and partners who want to test their use cases over a 5G infrastructure. First of all is the availability of a state-of-the-art 5G technology platform, upgraded not constantly, but every 6 months, which is a good pace of work. And even if we can give you access to the latest and 5G technology developments, it's equally important that we make it easy for you to access that, so that your test activities are effective, are efficient, and can give you a confidence that the conclusions you get there can be extrapolated to other environments where you will operate your services in the near future. So that was for the vision, and I was going really fast there because we have had other webinars and probably you have a background on the project. And the idea today is that we can spend a little bit more time in the type of services, how we deliver them, and the high-level architecture. So we'll get into that immediately. It's important to share with you the inspiring driving requirements for creating our platform. So that can be summarized in 4 aspects. The first one is that the platform we are creating for you is technology agnostic. This means that you don't have to be an expert in 5G technology. You can decide and state what you want to achieve with your test, and the platform takes care of how this is delivered to you. At the same time, you don't have to care about the type of technology, the type of vendor behind the platform you are using in a specific site, because this is based on standard and also encapsulated. The second aspect that we have considered for creating the platform is that it has to be vertical agnostic. And this is important because with that approach, we can secure that we can serve a wider range of verticals. We are not making specific assumptions on the verticals. And as commented before, what we do is that we verify that we're creating a usable platform for the 6 verticals already engaged in our project, and assuming and trying to improve it so that we can serve more partners and use cases. A third element that we also consider as a driving requirement is that the platform as a whole is one platform. It's the 5G platform. And it's offered in the same way, no matter you are using for your testing the Italian, the Spanish, the Greek, or the French side. So the same type of tests in the same manner should be accessible, and that simplifies a lot your possibilities for testing your applications even on different locations and at different locations at the same time if your use case requires so as well. And finally, we put a lot of effort on making it easy to use with APIs and graphical user interfaces that people with the necessary but only limited knowledge on 5G can use, so that this can be started and doesn't take months or longer periods to get started. I think that it can give you a good idea of what 5G can do for you if we take a look at what could be a typical duration of a collaboration of your of the testing phase of your application. Before this workflow that we are showing on the picture starts, of course, there has to be an agreement and a common understanding of the platform and on the use case. But once we have that agreement to collaborate, the very first phase that we should work together is the test design. It's the design of the test that you need to do over a 5G network so that you get sure that your application can work smoothly and can meet its objectives in our environment. The expected results, we have to come to a feasibility analysis and a test specification. And our goal is that we can do this process in as little time as 1 month. And then we have to professionally work together, prepare the test in a period that should be between 1 and 2 months, where we can secure that all the different type of specific requirements that you may have can be achieved in this or that site facility. Tests are properly defined, scheduled, and a test planning is handshake. And then, depending on your needs for your specific use case, the actual test execution and the monitoring of the results, which is 2 concurrent processes, could be performed in 2 days, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or 1 month. What we are trying to simplify is that this period can be limited. Our platform will be concurrently used by several use cases. So normally we will assign slots so that we can create the conditions for your specific test, guaranteed for a period of time of, say, days and weeks. And equally important is that once all the tests are executed and monitored, then there is an analysis phase where not only you can get a conclusions on when your application performs better or worse on what conditions, but we can also, as ICT players, we can get to know how we can improve for the next iteration the support to your type of use case. So in general, if you can see, what we can offer is a very efficient way of interacting over a limited time with you. And then if you sort of get addicted to this can be a cycle. You can run this process as many times as you like, and you can benefit from the continuous upgrades of the platform. As I said before, we will set a pace of upgrades every 6 months. Let's make the effort to super simplify how the verticals will perceive our 5G platform. As you can see in the picture, there are 4 sites, all of them fully equipped with all the necessary 5G equipment, including all the levels of orchestration, control, user plane, and physical infrastructure. And homogeneously, those platforms are offered as one through a 5G EVE interworking framework and 5G portal to the vertical testers on the right-hand side. So these are the people who have the information of your specific domain on what they want to test, for what purpose, with what type of devices, when, etc. So these guys will use our portal to set up and launch the test that they are interested in. And they will also get the reports on the monitoring of those testing activities. And then on the left-hand side, depending on the size you want to do the actual test, vertical and user equipment will be deployed. It can be an autonomous car, it can be an AGV, it can be any type of device that you connect to the 5G network in each of the sites. So there's, as you can see, a dimension of using the platform as a one platform on the right-hand side. You can schedule a launch from your location, from anywhere in the internet, your testing activities. On the left-hand side, there is the geographical dimension. Of course, the coverage we are providing and the service we are giving with all the continuous monitoring runs only in 5G sites. How do we do to manage with these two dimensions of multi-domain, multi-site and specific site? This is a little bit more detailed architecture for us, implementation view platform. And there's like two sectors here. The upper layers have to do with the common generic services offered to you, vertical projects and partners, regardless the site. So you can see the portal, as I was mentioning, an inter-working framework abstracting you from the differences between the different sites and making them work together for the use cases demanded. So, and then the green lower layers have to do with the implementations at each of the 4 site facilities 5G. So what you can get with this is an homogeneous interface for your testing activities that again will be the same in Italy, France, Spain, but you can get a variety of technologies, vendors, players in each of the sites. So this gives a richness of your testing activities, since they really will resemble a commercial rollout of a network. You can get conclusions from a variety of services and technologies involved here, but the interface to do so remains the same for all the sites. Then, if we have to summarize in 2 aspects, as we did before, what the 5G ETH platform is all about, it should be 2 things. The 5G capabilities that are incorporated and upgraded over time, I will discuss now, and the key innovations to make that the access to that platform easy and productive for your activity. Let me start first with the capabilities and technologies involved. You can have an idea here of what each of the sites will comply to. Starting from the top, all the innovations in the 5G, in the new 5G protocols, and some of them available and can be incorporated already over the 4G baseline. As you can see here, the flexible numerology, massive MIMO, multi-user MIMO, RAM virtualization, rate latency reduction, they will be a must for all sites. And we work and allocate spectrum with permission of the operators and the regulatory bodies at each country, with a major focus on the mid bands and the low bands. And we give an optionality to each site to also incorporate and provide coverage in the high bands, depending on the use cases. They have demands for that. And given the flexibility to do it along the next. With that in place, we have an important basis, and then we can really try to deliver all 3 types of the standard 5G services: enhanced mobile broadband, ultra-reliable low latency communication, and massive machine type communications that make up the 3 basic network slices for your testing. And that has to be complemented equally on the core network side in continuous evolution, from having a VPC supporting 5G, control user plane separation, moving to 5G core, a full service-based architecture, and we can also offer interworking with LTE And the basic aspect of virtualization is, of course, included in the deployments of all the sites with NFV, SDN. We offer and we recommend for your testing activities the deployment of your vertical application in our environment. You can choose the type of model you want, sort of central office, edge, or even MEC. And over time, we incorporate the standards and the different architectural 5G architecture options, as you can see, moving from the LTE legacy that we have from the beginning in our sites to release 15 in MSA mode, release 15 in SA mode, and getting to release 16 in both NSA and SA mode. One aspect we comment and discuss a lot with companies approaching 5G is slicing, and another one is edge computing. Let me share a few words about that. We think that for slicing, we need a solid base of the standard network slicing, and we want to be able to offer a good granularity of slicing at service level for the cloud part. And a step beyond, we make up and compose multi-domain slices for those type of use cases where several sites, countries, if you like, have to be involved for the execution of it. When it comes to edge computing, we are complying with 3GPP edge computing, and we also give the optionality to even offer edge CMake at different sites. So that's a lot of terms, a lot of technologies. What we are doing is creating an homogeneous or the same blueprint for at this level, at the level of standards at each site. Again, reinforcing that you can trust the conclusions of your testing activities because we are not working on proprietary or other special aspects, but on the same blueprint of standards. If you have to work with all these technologies, then again, we don't want you to be the best expert in 5G. We want you to actually test your innovative applications. So we create the upper layer, the 5G framework, to allowing you to specify what you want to test, what is your problem, what is the KPI you are interested in, the conditions that apply to your use cases for your backend applications and for your end user devices. And this is what we deliver to the intent-based interface innovation being developed as we speak in the project. Then, as I was already mentioning, we believe that there is a lot of room for innovation considering multi-domain slicing and orchestration, and from the different levels of demands that your application can have, we can evolve together to try to meet your demands here from control of your application to actually the data plane shared at different sites, which is quite challenging. Then a major aspect of the project is that there is a quantification of results. It's not works, doesn't work type of test. It's a fully qualified set of information delivered to you based on the continuous monitoring of the behavior of the network to your application, so that you can check that the 5G technology can offer to you this, and that in a perfect condition, and that should be researched a little bit more or tested. And we think it's important to create confidence with this test, and we're putting a lot of effort in working together with other projects in the ICT 17 to come to a standard KPI framework so that your conclusions can be extrapolated more easily to other domains. And finally, thanks to the virtualization, we also offer the possibility to configure the sites in different ways with the possibility to replace, to have a modularity that can allow replacing and changing of components so that several alternative configurations can be tested for your for addressing or supporting your specific points. So we've seen what 5G EVE platform offers you. all this information can be available and extended in bilateral meetings that we recommend to have. But one aspect that we would like to share today especially is the timing of all these features that I just commented. So I will try to explain in a very few minutes how this will look like. To us, it is essential that this aspect is clear because you have to plan your projects and activities in a way that it is aligned to what we can deliver to you. As you can see, in general, we have a pace of upgrades every 6 months. We have just launched the first drop of the platform. Today, there are in the 4 sites tests being already performed by the participant verticals with a number of tools, limited tool set for validation, but it's activity ongoing that we learn from to also to be able to improve that platform in the next iterations of development. An important date is January 2020, where there is the first platform released, and that opens for the very first initial test that your projects, your activities can benefit of. But the main moment in time where all the tool set that we are delivering, so both capabilities and innovations, are available in a collective set is July 2020. That's the perfect moment to start the test that you have been able to define, prepare, and plan, in our opinion, today. And of course, you can benefit from the final drop of our technology and innovations moving into release 16 in all sites by the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. So with this way, we think that if your application is also evolving, you can actually benefit from 1, 2, or even 3 rounds of tests, which can give you a better perspective of how the standards and technologies are evolving and how you can benefit from that. Let me put that a little bit more into details with these 2 arrows. The upper arrow has to do with the 5G capabilities that we have decided to have in all sites. And it's important to take a look at the starting point on May 2019, that it's already in place. We have a solid and improved advanced LTE platform with VPC. We have introduced prescheduling, NFV, control user plane separation, LTE, and narrowband IoT and mobile broadband already. And this is allowing for earlier test of a lot of applications with performance that we are already guaranteeing, and then the learning is in place for both verticals in the project and for us. In January 2020, we moved towards 5G new radio and EPC, so that's the general, so to say, availability of this technology in the platform, even if in some places we can have it before, but officially we work in a 6-month increments approach. Massive MIMO will be generalized in all sites, and network slicing and edge computing will be supported, and we will have been able to move from LTE mobile broadband to 5G enhanced mobile broadband.
Manuel, sorry to interrupt you. You have a maximum a couple of minutes.
Yes, I'm almost done. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. As I said before, in July 2020, we have gone from, just to remind a few highlights on the roadmap, we complete network slicing with more granularity service slicing, and we have a first, as specified in release 15, complete UR LLC, and in in January 2021, we can guarantee release 16, which is still under specification. And when it comes to the added value features, and I have to be brief because there's only 2 minutes, to me the key date is on July 2020, where the full testing portal will be available. Not only the capabilities for 5G are available to get your performance, but the right tools to measure and monitor those KPIs for, as you can see, user data rate, latency, reliability, peak data rate, and probably an anticipation of capacity and availability. The interconnection of sites and the possibilities to create interconnected use cases is evolving as well over time, as shown here. And basically that closes a coherent plan that can help you plan the concrete activities of testing of your projects. That closes the roadmap aspect. I really, again, encourage to have more bilateral meetings to get into the details. It was just a sort of initial presentation. And of course, you can follow any of these links to get more information on the testing methodologies and solution, the available facilities that now will be presented by Rodolfo more in detail. And any specific requests, please make use of the contact below. So by that, I hope I have covered the first presentation, and now we can get into the details of each site. Thank you so much.